Welcome guys to Ryuko's Healing Basics. I'm going to be going over a couple things, some little kind of almost cheats and easy modes for healing. Now, you may like healing to be difficult, but in my raids personally, I'd rather my healers uh, be utilizing their class and their abilities as much as possible. And if that involves using raid UIs and macros to make things easier so that things don't die, in the long run, that's all I really care about. Okay, I care about live raids, not dead raids, because healers want more of a challenge. And to be honest, if a player uses their spells and their abilities using my suggestions, they can use more of their class, use more of their spells, and make use of them more often because they can get over simple problems such as misclicks, over massive overhealing, massive underhealing. And so I'm going to go ahead and just kind of get into explaining how you can utilize my raid UI setups and my macro setups in order to achieve these goals. Okay. First of all, we're going to talk about grid. Okay. This is the grid icon. I moved it, just so you know, it will normally be over here next to the mini map icon, and this is grid itself. Now, as you can see, this is of two people. The setup is for 5 people with pets. In a raid, you can set it up to 25 people with pets, which is highly advisable for fights like EOE, where the dragons count as pets, or Aldar, where the vehicles count as pets. It will get quite massive with my setup with the raid frames as big as they are. It will come out to about right here. Okay. Now, still though, that's more manageable than the normal raid UIs, and it's also more manageable than some other raid UIs like Explore. You can make it smaller if that's the way you want it to be done. Um, Now, what you can see here is I'm going to kind of show you a couple things that Healbot does. Now, it changes colors of the nameplates based on class. You know, pink being the general, pink and maroon being the general paladin one. That's what we've got going right now. Okay. Um, as you can see, as Joanna loses health, let me just let her know that she's going to be losing health so she doesn't freak out when I'm not healing her. As Joanna loses health, okay, you can see that her name turns a little pinkish color. This is a percentage base. Okay, as her health goes down and down, the more the bar becomes a different color. For mages, it'll be like dark blue to light blue. Warriors will be dark brown to light brown. Death Knights, it will be a darker, more red to a light red, and so on and so forth. Okay, now as I heal her, you can see that it becomes a different kind of shade. Okay, that's my projected healing amount. Okay, had she had more damage, okay, there would be a little bit left pink. Okay, it would be my underheal. It's projected. It's not based on crit, so like for paladins, it's generally a little bit more, but you can't guarantee it. Okay. The other thing you'll see is that there's this little square icon within her name. She cleanses herself that time, but this basically lets you know there's something to be cleansed. Okay. Now this is a good opportunity for me to show you what I'm talking about. As I flash of light, see, there's a little bit of pink left over. Okay. Now the other nice thing about grid is you can set up grid so it only shows things that you can decurse, cleanse, or basically your class can take care of. That way you don't spend time trying to cleanse things you can't cleanse. Uh, as my experience as a healer, nothing's more frustrating. Well, there's a few things more frustrating, but there's not a lot of things that are more frustrating than trying to cleanse something you cannot cleanse. Okay. So this kind of helps get rid of this problem. Now, if you're a raid leader, I would not advise removing buffs you can't cleanse. I personally show all debuffs because I need to make sure people are decursing. But if you're just a healer and you don't need to worry about things like that, it's very valuable because then you don't waste time. Okay, and time is extremely valuable as a healer, as we all know. Healers are provided with the least room for mistakes. Okay. Now, a couple of other things that you can note, you can kind of see this red dot. Some grid has lately been a little buggy on it, but what the red dot means is that person has aggro. This is useful because, like, say you're healing raid or something, and all of a sudden you see some DPS get a red dot. That means they probably over AoE'd and they now have aggro. So it kind of makes it a little easier for you to just kind of go spot them, heal. Kind of helps you with your precasting. I would not advise this if you're main tank healing, but it's something you can make useful. Okay. Now, the other thing that grid is useful is for the use of mouse over macros. Now, if you go ahead and go into your text field and you type /macro, you're going to bring up the macros field here. Okay. Now, I do have 1 billion macros and a half, but generally it will look like what this area down here looks like, all empty. Okay. You're going to go ahead and click new. All right. Go ahead and type in the name of your macro, or spell rather. So let's go ahead and make a holy light one. I already have one, but for this purpose of making it, we'll go ahead and make it. Okay. Now, once you type holy light, use the question mark one. This will make sure that the icon assumes the the image of your original spell. Okay, that way it's not as confusing. If you want to use a different one, perfectly acceptable, but this is just the easiest way to do it. Then type in $, show tooltip, and then the name of your spell, which for this one it's holy light. Now you're gonna have to pardon me because I don't have the exact code of the next part memorized, so I'm gonna go ahead and copy and paste it from my other one, and I'm gonna break it down for you, so then that way you'll know what we're doing. Okay. Now you type enter, gotta make a new line. It will not work if you don't make a new line. Then type /cast, left bracket, square bracket, okay, target equals mouse over, comma, exists, right, right square bracket, okay. This is the core to your macro, okay. This gives you two conditions. It tells the macro that if your mouse has a target, not that you technically have a target, but your mouse has a target, that is your target. If your mouse does not have a target, it's whatever your character's target is. So right now, my character's target is Joanna Die. My target, my mouse over target is Ryuko right now, because my mouse is over my nameplate. Now, the next part is, you'll see it says Holy Light, Holy Light. That is just the two spells that will be cast under those certain conditions. Until you have thoroughly learned mouse over macros, I would not suggest using two different spells. I would just use Holy Light, Renew, Renew, whatever your spells are. I would use those. Okay. And then what you can go ahead and do, oh, let me go ahead and afford her a heal real quick. Then what you can go ahead and do is you drag it down and put it in the slot that your healing slot normally is. Okay. Now with this made, you no longer have to click on a person, and you can use your target for an entirely different purpose. For instance, let's say I really want to watch Ryuko's health. Don't really care about anybody else's. Anybody else's, I'll just heal as it comes. When I want to heal Ryuko, I'm just going to go ahead and click the spell on my keyboard. Okay, I'm not actually going to click with my mouse here. I know you can't see this, but just trust me here. I'm going to click the corresponding button, which is 2. Okay, I am now casting Holy Light on Ryuko like I normally would, without a mouse over macro. Okay, but now I'm going to go ahead and catch up to Joanna Die here. Now, I got Ryuko targeted, but if I'm targeting Joanna Die on grid, and I cast the spell using 2, it'll cast on her. Okay. Now what this means is, and I'm going to go ahead and let you watch my cast bar, I can chain cast extremely easily and efficiently just by spamming the button. Okay. Many people joke that I will break my keyboard with the way I heal. But the fact of the matter is there is no break between castings. This maximizes heals per second and responsiveness. Okay. This is extremely useful.